What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Source Chiropractic's knee program. I'm Dr. Brendan Collins-Bright, and I'm super stoked to show you guys how to create strong knees. For anybody here that's had knee pain for a very long time, I can definitely resonate. I've had a fractured patella, IT band syndrome, MCL sprain, LCL sprain, dislocated kneecaps on both of my knees, so I've experienced a lot of pain, and I can tell you some really big keys is one, consistency. So the next 30 days, being very consistent with one, your chiropractic adjustments, with two, the stability series, the strength series that we're going to be doing today, and three, the mobility series that we have for you as well. Do that for 30 days and see the change that you have. Stay consistent is huge. In this video series, I'm going to be going through a series of exercises, starting with decompression breathing, spinal hygiene, backwards walking, iso lunges, the Patrick step-ups, some banded Popliteus, some anterior tibialis raises, some calf raises, some L-sits to get that core involved too, a bunch of exercises, banded walks, banded monster walks, whole bunch of things to get those knees very stable. And through this, I'm gonna only go through it once, each exercise, but I recommend you doing 2 or 3 additional sets. Listen to your body, of course. If your body's saying too much, if you're ever feeling sharp pain, certainly stop, reevaluate, talk to your doctor, and then we'll get going a little bit further. So always listen to your body, but I do recommend doing additional 2 sets after we do the exercise I'm showing you today. All right, so the first thing that we start off here at the Source Chiropractic is decompression breathing, a way to stabilize your spine and getting everything involved through your breath. If you need more detailed throughout this, we have a great video, so go check out the decompression video that we have already given you to get a little bit more details. But in general, recap, breathing big into your stomach, your chest, the very top of your ribs, your clavicle, activating your core and really contracting this entire time. Exhale, primarily only using your core, not allowing your rib cage to flare. This is the breathing we'll be doing throughout this entire series, so focusing on this, getting this really down is essential. Another big component to this is grounding your feet into the ground. So while you are doing this, you're activating your pelvic floor, your legs, your calves, your feet, everything. And what it starts with is your feet. So I want the outsides of your feet to be parallel. So you might look like a little pigeon toe, that's okay. And then the balls of your feet, these 2 points, and the heel are gonna be the 3 trifecta tripod. You're gonna be screwing that into the ground, which will allow the intrinsic arch to get going, the calves, the ankles, the knees, the hamstrings, the quads, everything starts to stabilize, and your pelvis. Then you breathe, belly, chest, clavicle, really activating your core. Now I feel like everything is activated, stabilized. Do this for about 3 sets of 5 breaths, get everything get going, and then we'll start with now the knee stuff. But before that, we do want to get some spinal hygiene going. Let's get that spine nice and mobile and fluid. And so just like we did during the exam that you had, getting some mobility in the spine. So flexion, extension, while we are continually to decompressively breathe and activate our core. You're gonna do this for 10 reps. I'm gonna do it for 5, but you're gonna continue to breathe and get your feet activated, feeling your glutes turn on, your pelvis starts to get activated. You can even like wiggle your pelvis a little bit throughout this too. You'll go ear to shoulder. Everything here with the spinal hygiene is 10 reps. I'm just doing 5, but you're gonna be doing 10. Ear to shoulder, we get that cervical spine nice and mobile, feeling good. We'll get to our thoracic spine now too. Some good rotations. If you want, you can open up your arms too, get your rib cage and your shoulders a little bit involved. Continue to breathe. With the breathing, this makes it a bit more challenging, and it really activates and stabilizes all the muscles and the fascia. So it's not a passive movement. This is a very active and also engaging movement. Getting some lateral flexion, starting to open up our lumbar spine. You can start to get your lats and your QLs a bit more evolved by getting your hands up and reaching overhead, really stretching these out. Starting to warm up the body will get you prepared for this program. Get you prepared to actually get your knees nice and stable. The breathing here, this is what allows the core to really get involved. Last one is a big spinal wave. So starting to flex your spine down, extending up, getting your thoracic cage super involved. Thoracic extension is a big point of dysfunction with a lot of people. So really extending up, having everything nice and involved. Continue to get your feet nice and engaged. So everything is playing its part. You have one body, but everything, all the muscles are playing a huge role in keeping it healthy. Whew, all right, I'm feeling pretty good. So, breathing's done. Spinal mobility is done. You can get little shoulder rolls too if you feel like you need a little bit more spaces in your body. I need a little bit of mobility. Go ahead and play around, get things nice and activated. You have a unique body, so listen to your body throughout this. If you're ever feeling pain and like sharpness, give it a stop and find a way that you might be able to move through it. But if it's super sharp, talk to your chiropractor, let them know. Maybe they can aid you in some other assistance or some other little tweaks they can make to this too. But the first thing we get going is backwards walking. So backwards walking is pretty simple. You're walking backwards. But what we're gonna be focusing on is making sure you're getting a full extension where the ankle is going past the knee and you're moving throughout it. If you have balance issues, if balance is a problem for you, one, have a partner that can stabilize you and secure you. But if you don't have somebody, treadmill, go to your gym. The treadmill has some nice handles that you can utilize, and so you can feel safe and secure while you're doing this. You'll be doing this for about 5 minutes. So backwards walking, again, making sure you're getting some nice crossing of the arms. You're fully extending your ankle back, breathing throughout this so your core and your spine are nice and stable and also involved in this movement. Breathing. I'm focused. I'm intentional with all of my movements here. I'm staying very focused. You'll be doing about 5 minutes, okay? So take a pause in the video right now. Do this for about 5 minutes. If you want some added resistance, so more strength training with this, go ahead and use a treadmill and make sure it's off. Actually, you're not gonna be turning it on, but you're getting the resistance of the treadmill. You're really beginning that VMO nice and activated. Or you can do some sleds. Put like a 25 pound, you can start 15, 90 pounds. I'm working 90 to 100 pounds right now, really getting my knees nice and strong. And that's been a huge game changer for getting my knees from just being pain-free to being one of the strongest assets to my body. So go ahead and pause right now, 5 minutes, backwards walking, have some fun. Next one we're getting into is the iso lunge. So iso meaning isometric, meaning we're not gonna be moving. We're gonna be getting a nice deep lunge. Your knee can go as far forward as we want, or we're getting a nice ankle mobility throughout this too. Having the back leg nice and extended. You see here, everything is closed in. I'm not opened up. I'm closing that hip in nice and strong. Really key point is, again, is the foot activation. So my front foot, that tripod is grounding into it and pulling back towards my pelvis, allowing my calf, my hamstring, also gets my VMO nice and activated too. And then my back leg, it's curled in, it's not open, it's tucked in, and I'm pulling it forward towards my pelvis, allowing my pelvis, especially this hip flexors, nice and mobility here too, getting some nice opening here. I'll cross my arms here too, so I can get my core a little bit involved. And breathing, stomach, chest, clavicle, and really stabilizing and activating everything throughout it. So everything is engaged. You're gonna be holding this for 1 minute. 1 minute on, take a minute off, switch the legs, and doing it again. If you're unable to go 1 full minute, you have to stop. You'll take a break. You'll take 3 good breaths in, calm down, wiggle it out. I just got really fatigued. I couldn't do a minute. You take 3 breaths in and hop right back into it. Do that until you can reach up to a minute. That'll become your new goal, able to do 1 minute of a full isometric lunge. Again, you're going 1 minute on, 1 minute off, switch the legs, 3 sets in total. The next one we're getting into is the Patrick step up. This is one of my favorites because it allows my VMO to really get activated, which for me was such a problem. It took years to get this guy to even be existent, essentially. So, Patrick step up. You'll be on one leg, so good balance exercise too. The hip will come up. I'm going to breathe and stabilizing and everything involved, allowing my front leg to then get full ankle and knee flexion, come up and step up. This is the Patrick step up. You'll be doing this for 10 reps, 3 sets, each leg. Again, stabilize the leg into the ground, breathe nice and controlled, and pushing it down. You might notice that one knee can't go as far forward or one ankle can't go as far forward as the other one. For me, it's my right side. My right side is the more challenging side for me. So this awareness, it's okay. If you want some added levels of resistance, get a nice slant board. I recommend a slant board if you have knee issues in general, or just something you can get your foot a little bit raised off of the ground. And again, the Patrick step up, allowing that knee flexion to come forward. Look how much more knee flexion I'm able to have because I have this extended surface. This allows for more activation of my sartorius and of my VMO, starting to get my groin a little bit more involved. If you want some more added level of strength and resistance, get some kettlebells, hold it here, and now you're getting bulletproofed knees. Holding that there. Next one we'll be getting into, so again, 3 sets of 10 for that one, each leg, 3 sets of 10. Next thing we'll be getting into is some banded resistance work. So if you have a band at home, make sure you get that out. If you don't, go buy some. They're very useful. What we're gonna be focusing on in this exercise is your popliteus. It's a muscle in the back of your knee that most people have a lot of issues with. And so we're gonna be using a nice band here. With this, you'll just kind of tie it against the leg of your table, of a chair, of anything that you have at your home. Again, one of the best things about this program is that you don't really need anything. You don't go anywhere. So with this, you'll be tied around your leg, around the table. And it's a very simple exercise. You're going to as far knee flexion as you can, and you're gonna extend fully, hold that for about a second. Flexion, extension, fully extending, getting your quads nice and activated throughout it. And you'll be doing this for about 25 reps. This is gonna really allow for your tibia and your fibula to rotate with your femur head, getting the full screw home mechanism of your knee, allowing that popliteus to regain its function. And also, it's really good for your VMO too, getting those quads nice and strong with this as well. So you've been doing 3 sets of 25 each knee. Nice and simple exercise, but highly effective. Highly effective. So go ahead and do that for about 25 reps, 3 sets each side. Just hop right back into it. You don't need much rest time for either one of those. All right, so the next banded exercise we have is going to be monster walks. With this, it's going to be a nice circle band. You could tie it together. You can buy a band that's already in a circle, which is very helpful. And so you're going to be wrapping around the knees, right on top of the knees, where I prefer. It feels nice for me, and it gets more things involved in my opinion. So what you'll be doing here is some simple walking in diagonal in a 45-degree angle. Again, breathing properly, activating your legs and your core. You can get a nice hip hinge. When I'm hip hinging, I'll be pushing my hips back. I'm not gonna be bending too much. A nice, simple hip hinge. I'm not going too far. And with this, I'm breathing, I'm hip hinging, and I'll be doing a nice side walk. Important part of this is when my back leg starts to come back, I'm really holding that small and slow, very slow. I'm not just walking and moving through it. I'm controlling that back leg. It's gonna really allow for my glute med to get very involved. I used to get made fun of a lot because I would do this so slowly and so controlled, but it got me where I want to get to, and that's very important. So holding this, breathing into the core, nice and slow walking. You go side by side, go like 5 to 8 steps one way, and then 5 to 8 steps the other way for 3 sets. Again, the big cues, breathe and slow and controlled. The next one with this is gonna be the same intention, but we're gonna be going forward in a 45-degree step. Again, my feet aren't wide. Everything is closed and controlled and compacted. So, taking that nice wide step to the right in a 45-degree, and again, slow and controlled with that back leg. Now go the other side. 45 degrees, nice and slow. Getting your hands involved helps out with proper involvement of your core, your obliques, and you go backwards as well. 45 degrees. Breathing and stabilizing this core throughout it. Got to get everything involved. Again, going about 6 to 8 steps forwards and backwards for 3 sets. All right, now we'll be getting into some banded squats. So a big thing that we see at the Source Chiropractic is a lot of people's knees will collapse during the squat analysis. So it's gonna help retrain your neuromuscular system to really stabilize those knees and making sure you're not getting that valgus collapse. So again, get that band nice on top of the knee. You'll be doing here is making sure your feet are nice and engaged into the ground, activating here, breathing thoroughly. And then going into a nice squat, allowing your hands to raise, pushing those knees out, a nice 45-degree angle. Go into the depth that you can and come on up. Hip hinge down, knee flexion, finding that nice ease, holding that for like a second, coming up. Nice and stable, pushing that knee out. Good 45 degrees, getting good thoracic extension, breathing into the core, and then coming up and getting full hip extension. 3 sets of 10, you know, take a nice 30-second break after this, get a nice little rest. But 3 sets of 10 for those nice banded squats, pushing those knees out. All right, now we're gonna get into something called the L-sit. The L-sit is going to really focus on getting our hip flexors nice and involved, or iliopsoas and other deep core muscles. So what we'll be doing here is, again, breathing, stabilizing your hands will be nice and back. And the simple thing you'll be doing is you're going to raise your leg up and over. Up and over. Right here you have a nice cup, something that you can raise and get a nice objective raise of your heel up. But again, breathing in the stomach, up and over, up and over. You're gonna be feeling your VMO start to activate. You'll feel in the hip flexors, that anterior part of your capsule getting nice and strong, and then deep here in the lower abdomen as well. Start doing the other side too. You'll be doing about 3 sets of 10 with this. I'll be really feeling my groin here too. So a lot of the adductors will be getting involved, which is pretty essential. Really focusing your intention on here and here, the inside part of your leg, of your thigh. I'm going fast, but you can go a lot slower than me. I've been doing this for a while, so I feel very comfortable with this movement. But at first, I'm starting to shake, so here we go. This is good. Nice. So I'm seeing this shake a lot, which is telling me my inside of my groin is activated. Go 3 sets of 10. These are L-sits. These are great. All right, we're gonna be getting into the anchored supine bridge here. With this, a big focus is gonna get our hamstrings and our lumbodorsal fascia nice and involved, our glutes. So this posterior chain is the big focus for this movement. So it's an anchored supine bridge. What you might be used to is a normal glute bridge where you're just, on the floor and you'll be raising your glutes up. This one is getting a lot more things activated and engaged in this movement. So with this, you're gonna have your feet a little bit more extended, and your big toes will be touching and your knees will be touching. You're gonna really focus here on squeezing these knees together. A nice way to know if you're doing that or not, put like a yoga block or something between the knees. If it falls, you know you're not squeezing hard enough. So putting something between your knees really helps you engage and get that contracted. You'll be decompressively breathing throughout this as well, and your hands will be coming up overhead and squeezing these together. This will also make sure your frontal line chain is getting involved in this movement too. So this is a really, really powerful movement. And so what you'll be doing is decompressively breathing, squeezing your toes, squeezing your knees, squeezing your hands together, squeezing it all, and you're gonna be pulling your heels up to your glutes, which will then activate your hamstrings and start to get your glutes and hips a little bit off the ground. Key thing, a little bit, only a couple inches. You're not going that far, and you'll be holding this for about 20 to 30 seconds. Squeezing it, decompressively breathing, squeezing those knees, squeezing the heels up, and then squeezing these hands. You'll feel a big activation in your hamstrings, and you'll feel your big activation in your core. Squeeze it all for about 20 or 30 seconds, decompressively breathing, belly, chest, clavicle, throughout this whole thing. Do that for about 20 or 30 seconds. You'll take 20 or 30 seconds off, and do that for about 6 sets. So I definitely want you to be doing this for longer sets than we've been doing with the other exercises. Enjoy this one. This one's a pretty gnarly one. If you get a little cramp in your hamstring, it's okay. Take a little more time off, but hop right back into it. All right, we're finishing off here with some nice calf work. A big muscle group we're focusing on is your anterior tibialis, which is your shin muscle essentially. This one's very simple. Decompressively breathe to be leaning up against the wall, and your toes are just gonna raise up. Get full flexion of those ankles. You're feeling your VMOs also turn on. Hold that for about 1 second all the way at the top. and slowly let your feet fall down to the ground. You'll do this for about 25 reps, nice and slow. Once you get to that 25, you're gonna be feeling those shin muscles really burning. And this is a big muscle that we need to also involve. These accessory intrinsic muscles definitely get neglected. So you'll be doing these for about 25 reps, nice and slow, and you'll flip it over and do some calf raises. We'll go one leg at a time, each leg 25 reps here. So full flexion, holding at the top, getting some nice calf strengthening as well. You can get some more eccentric activity if you're off of a step, you know, go off of the steps at your house or something like that. You can get more calf involvement, but nice and slow here for about 25 reps. Do this about 3 sets. So you're gonna flip back and forth. You do calves, come over here, do your anterior tibialis shin muscles, 3 sets of 25 each. Nice and slow and controlled. Congratulations, you just got done with the strength series for your knee. This is gonna get you to have strong, resilient knees, turn that weakness into a strength of yours. And when you do that, it's gonna be a really, really awesome time. With this, my recommendations is doing each set about 3 times. Do your best. If you can't get there, work up to it. Make that a goal of yours. And with that, of course, doing both legs. Don't just focus on the hurt leg, focus on both legs, get everything going. I recommend aiming for the entire series, so strength and mobility. We gotta be working on both every single day for the next 30 days. Stay consistent, watch the little results, take those wins, and be proud of yourself. It's gonna take work, it's gonna take time, it's gonna take effort, but you can do it, and I promise you, let's get these knees to be nice and strong. I've done it, you can too. Let's get it.